Alright guys, I'm going to try to start with number 55. I think up to that point I had done most of them on either of the notes or something like that. So I'm going to start working number 55, and then if you have questions you can let me know on Monday on the others. 55, and I'll get through as many as I can. It says f of x equals x squared plus 25. So it's a quadratic. My possibilities are 1, 2, 5, not 2, that's not right, 1, 5, and 25. But if you look at it, none of that's going to work, because if you're squaring a number and adding 25, it's not going to give you 0. So none of my possibilities for rational zeros are going to work. So then I'm just going to set it equal to 0 and solve it. So subtract 25 from both sides. You get x squared equals negative 25, and then square root it. It's positive and negative 5i. So that's your answer to 55. 57 is another quadratic. It's h of x equals x squared minus 4x plus 1. And here my choices would just be positive and negative 1, and neither one of those will work. So in this case I can't use square roots like I did on the last one, but I can use the quadratic formula. A is 1, B is negative 4, and C is 1. So the quadratic formula, in case you've forgotten, is x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So negative b, that'd be positive 4. It'd be negative 4 squared. I just put a plus instead of a minus. So negative 4 squared. Let me start that over again. B squared, so that's b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So that's 4 plus or minus the square root of, if I do this, that's 16 minus 4, so that's the square root of 12 over 2. So that's 4 plus or minus the square root of 12 is 2 square root of 3 over 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 2 square root of 3 divided by 2 is the square root of 3. So there's your two answers, 2 plus the square root of 3 and 2 minus the square root of 3. 59. Couple of ways you can approach 59. The easiest way is probably to factor that if you can. Whoops, it was x to the 4th. And if you factor it, it'd be x squared plus 9 and x squared minus 9. Set each of those equal to 0, and you get x squared equals negative 9, so you square root that, and you get plus or minus, that'd be 3i, that's a 9, not a g. Add 9 here, you get x squared equals 9, square root that, you get x equals plus or minus 3. So your answers are plus and minus 3i and plus and minus 3. If you didn't know how to factor it, you could test this with all your possibilities of the factors of 81, and you'll find out that 3 and negative 3 work. And then you could do synthetic division to divide them out, like we're probably about to do in the next problem, and then you'd be left with a quadratic, and then you can do the quadratic formula for that, or set it equal to square roots. Actually would probably be the easiest thing from there. All right, 61. F of z equals z squared minus 2z, z squared minus 2z plus 2. My possibilities are positive, negative 1, positive, negative 2. Neither one will work, so I'm going to do the quadratic formula. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. It's if you do this, that'd be a negative 4 underneath here, because that'd be 4 minus 8. So that's 2 plus and minus 2i over 2. And 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 2i divided by 2 is just I. That's how you do 61. 63. G of x equals x cubed minus 6x squared plus 13x minus 10. My possibilities are positive, negative 1, 2, 5, and 10. All right, coming to my calculator now. X cubed minus 6x squared. Let's clear this out. X cubed minus 6x squared plus 13x minus 10. Alright, I need to try positive negative 1, positive negative 2, and positive negative 10. Whoops, I think I just took that off. Minus 10. Alright, sorry about that. I got distracted for a second. So x cubed minus 6x squared plus 13x, it should be minus 10. And somehow or another I got away from here before 10. Is that right? Okay, so if we go to the table, it's in ask mode, so it looks like right here 2 works. I would probably want to try 5 and negative 5 just to make sure. I don't think they do here, but you always want to try them just in case. But the only thing that works is 2. So I'm going to come over here, and if 2 is a factor, then I can use synthetic division. 1, negative 6, 13, negative 10. I can use synthetic division to see what would be left. 2 times 1 is 2, and add, and you get negative 4. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8, and add, and you get 5, and 2 times 5 is 10, and there's no remainder. This, if you try to positive negative 1, positive negative 5, nothing would work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the quadratic formula. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So underneath here, this is negative 4. It'd be 16 minus 20. So that's 4 plus or minus 2i. Square root of negative 4 is 2i divided by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 2i divided by 2 is I. And those are my 3 answers. 2, and then 2 plus I, and then 2 minus I. All right, number 65. This might be the last one I do right now. Kind of running out of time for the day. H of x equals x cubed minus x plus 6. My choices are positive negative 1, 2, 3, and 6. So x cubed minus x plus 6. Let's try that out. I might can remember that. X cubed minus x plus 6. I want to try positive negative 1, 1, negative 1, 2, negative 2, negative 2 worked. I'm going to jot that down. Let's see if anything else works. 3, negative 3, 6, and negative 6. The only thing that looks like it's going to work is negative 2. Okay, so negative 2 worked. Come back over here. So I'm going to use synthetic division. Now this time you got to be careful because there's a 1x cubed. There's not an x squared. So you better put a 0 there or you'll have a problem. So bring down the 1. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Add, you get negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. Add, you get 3. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Add, there's no remainder. I'm going to do the quadratic formula on what's left. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So that's the square root of negative 8 under here. So that'd be 4 minus 12. That's negative 8 over 2. So that's 2 plus or minus. The square root of 8 is 2 square root of 2. So it's 2 square root of 2i over 2. I'm running out of room. So if I divide by 2, that's 1 plus or minus the square root of 2i. And those are my answers. 1 plus the square root of 2i and 1 minus the square root of 2i. 3 answers right there. Okay, I'm going to end this video. It's almost 10 minutes, so that's up to 65, and hopefully that gives you a step in how to finish up these last couple, okay?